Hey, everybody, welcome to the first edition ever of the Unnamed Horror Podcast. Finally, I feel like a year and a half of talking about this. I'm Aaron, and that thing of the cowboy hat is my co-host, Amy Lynn Woodall. What's going on, Amy Lynn?
Oh, not much, just felt I've been fabulous today.
And we're joined by the cast and crew and director of Forest of the Trees. Real quick, just let everybody introduce themselves. Jason, we'll start with you and just go around everybody.
Yeah, my name is Jason Pitts. I'm the writer, director, and producer of The Forest Through the Trees.
Whoever wants to go next, okay.
I'm Kelly Lane. I'm playing Ruth.
I'm Scott Doss. I'm playing Julian.
I'm Marilyn Knapp, and I'm playing Mrs. Thompson.
My name is Julia Rakowski. I'm the casting director and producer on this, and I will be playing a small role as young Ruth. So I'm excited to be portraying Kelly in this.
My name is James Stokes. I'll be playing Ken in this. And I'll also helping Jason with producing a little bit. So we're back on the same team again and looking forward to start filming in just a few days.
Yeah.
Nice. Amy Lynn, anything you want to say? We'll start.
Oh, I'm Amy Lynn, part-time stalker, full-time script supervisor, co-host, and whatever else Jason Pitts needs.
Poor James over there just looks so defeated.
Yeah, I'm just debating on calling the law. I don't know. I'm just playing. Oh my goodness.
So James, we'll start with you real quick. How did you meet Jason, and how did you get started working on it?
How did I meet Jason? Oh yeah. Good. We met on set back in Alabama. I think it is where we first met. And instantly became friends. I mean, it was just I just liked the way he worked, the way he did things on set. I knew as being an actor, and finally finding a director that would allow you to be yourself and to take the character to your own heights, I guess you would say, instead of just making you go by the script, totally. I mean, he lets you be an actor pretty much. But that's where we first met, was in Alabama, and on set of just some films that is just like kind of like Lord Voldemort. You don't talk about it. So we just instantly became friends, and we've been together ever since, and always will be together as long as that brilliant mind of his is writing stuff. I'll be in it if he asks me to. So that's where we are.
Awesome. Of course, you're probably most famous for playing Jason Voorhees. I've heard you talk about stuff out. I don't want to bore you with the same one question, but I'm like, it had to be pretty cool. I feel like I wouldn't be doing my job, but
well, and we were sitting at the table in Alabama, actually, all of us, and we was eating, and he said something about coming up with the concept of writing a Friday the 13th fan film. And I said, "Oh my God, if you ever do that, I want to play Jason." And for months didn't hear anything back and all that stuff from him. And then all of a sudden I get a call from him and he says, "I got a script written." And it's like, "I want you to play Jason." And I said, and that's where it started. So yeah, playing that character was it's changed my life a little bit, as far as my acting career goes. I mean, it's brought me a lot of attention with the conventions that I go to and the conventions that me and Jason go to. There's still a lot of things going on with that. People love seeing Voorhees Night of the Beast. They still talk about it at these conventions. It's still it's still a big talk at these horror conventions that we go to. People love the actual movie and the way we brought the character back to life. So I'm very pleased about it.
Emily, you want to ask me anything?
No, sorry. I had to wrangle some things on the other end of the house. How long have you been in the industry, Jane?
That's wow, about 14 years, I guess, total. Off and on, but about 14 years I've been in the industry, just trying to, doing a lot of independent stuff and stuff like that. So, but yeah, um, about 14 years.
What was your most difficult role to portray, and what was your most favorite?
Well, the favorite,
But Voorhees, right?
yeah, I mean, it is because of such an iconic character to play, and learning how to play that character and stuff like that. Hardest character I've ever played. Um, I think it was actually a short film that I did. It was very emotional for me. It's where I played this bullied fighter, and I had to find Christ to get out of it and stuff. And that was a difficult role for me because it kind of hit home a little bit. Just knowing people that's actually lived that lifestyle and stuff like that, and so that was a very difficult role for me. I think Forest of the Trees is going to bring out a side of me that a lot of people haven't seen. The Whisperers actually playing that role of a dad, with Lexi as my daughter and stuff like that. That was even though I had a small part in it, I mean, it was an emotional character that had to bring emotion to every time I was on set. So yeah, I mean, I've had several acting roles that were, I wouldn't say difficult for me, but hit home for me that kind of hit me in the heart and stuff like that. So, yeah.
So that's what I meant, like the most emotion, like the one that took the most toll on you.
Yeah, I mean, it's the ones involving kids. I mean, I'm gonna have to say that. I mean, that's the one that hits me hard. Anytime that I get to play a dad role or anything like that, that kind of hits me kind of hard. So,
Aaron, do you
Alright,
have
so-
anything else you want to ask you?
Well, I thought, real quick, we'll go to Miss Kelly and let her talk for a minute about how she met Jake. And we'll just bounce back and forth about the forest before they both have work to go through Kirsten. So, Kelly, how did you meet Jason? And I love your role in Forest, by the way. I haven't talked to you yet.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, I also met Jason Pitts in Alabama as well, where I'm from. And we just all kind of like came together and formed a film family. And when you go through some things, you definitely kind of bond. And we've been through a lot of short films and done a lot of acting together and traveling and those kinds of things. And so yeah, I've always loved Jason's writing as well, kind of like what James was saying, that he is a fabulous writer. And then also, I can speak to, like I said, the same thing, that he allows the actor to be an actor, to really come alive. And he gives that creative space to really, explore that character and really just bring it more to life than probably what he was kind of, imagining. But I love the collaboration with Jason and being able to, really develop things together. So
How did what's your favorite role you've done at this point in your career?
well, kind of like what you were speaking to, I would have to say it was a lot of fun to do Voorhees, especially, being with my film family, and then slamming a 7-foot wrestler on the table, that was fun. So
The best scene in the entire movie.
Yeah.
That scene was awesome. Yeah,
I love
And
it. I love it.
I like the line you had later too, where he said you're not my type, and something like your parents are spanking your ass, which both are fine with me. And I'm like, oh, that lady's awesome. I like her.
Well, good. I'm glad you like that. That was Jason's writing. So
Amy Lynn, anything for her?
I'm going to ask the same line of questioning, like what film that you did or what character you played was the biggest struggle emotionally wise and took the biggest toll on you?
I don't know that I've had one yet that was just so, emotionally taxing. The only one that comes to mind really would be one that I did with Jason in Arkansas. It was a short film, and I was the lead role, but also I had a alternate version of myself. So I was actually playing two characters in that short film. So it felt like it was a full length film, but playing two different characters was definitely a little more of a challenge. It was fun. It definitely pushed me, it challenged me. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed taking that on. And I think that's where I really I really feel like that's where Jason and I kind of, bonded more, just because he was right behind the camera and we had to like bounce things off of one another a lot. And so it was definitely a partnership. So I would have to say, yeah, that one. Mhm.
I also
Do you have
that
like,
screenplay I
sorry,
wrote.
but to help you get into like certain characters or roles, do you have a certain process you go through to develop the character and to get to know them?
Oh gosh, yes. I definitely um kind of visualize the character when I read the script. And I always like to talk to the director. Jason knows this. I always like to talk to the director and ask, hey, am I reading into this correctly? Am I following what you were kind of seeing for that character? And then just kind of doing some like definition study, going through and really looking at the sides and the lines and all, and uh asking, why I am, a certain way, what's the reasoning, what's my backstory, and really build on that backstory so that I have a lot to pull from.
Aaron, do you have anything else you want to ask her?
Jason, do you want to say something?
Oh, I was just gonna mention that I when on that film that she was talking about that we worked together pretty closely on, I actually adapted that screenplay as well. So we worked really close together on that one. It was a good time.
It was. It really was. I enjoyed that. That was my first kind of filming, going back and forth to Arkansas a lot, and I really fell in love with Arkansas. I was like, I love it here. So
So let's talk about Roots for a minute. What can you tell us about your? I mean, I know you can't get too much away. What can you tell us about your character?
say that again. You trailed out just a little
I'm
bit.
sorry. Talk about your character for a minute and Forest Through the Trees. What can you tell us about it?
Yeah.
Not giving too
So
much away.
okay, gotcha. And Jason, you can stop me if I do.
Sure.
But no, Ruth is the sister of one of the main characters, and she definitely wants to be a support to her sister, but she also, because of this system, I'll call it, that we are in, I have a hard time choosing between the two, and ultimately, I do make a decision, and um that years later I certainly regret. So
I can't wait to see what you can do with it. I know you said you don't have much time, and I appreciate you coming on and giving us a little time.
yeah,
This has been. Maybe one day we can get you on for like a full interview or something. That would be really awesome.
absolutely, I would love to. And I was about to say, this character is once you see her, it is very much an emotional kind of um theme right from the start with her, because of all the other stuff that's going on. So it's very just kind of like, straight to the point, and it's definitely going to be an emotional push there as well to just like get there. So yep. But thank you for your kind words, Aaron. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I'd love to come on later.
That would be great. We'd love to have you.
Thank you.
James, I've
Yeah.
read the script. I've read the script. Ken is a total badass. He's probably my favorite character that Jason's ever written. So,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about Ken while you.
Well,
here.
I do think that he's definitely a badass, but at the same time, he's trying to be a father to a stepchild that does she love him? Does she not? I mean, it's people are going to have to make their own assumptions to that. But the choices that he makes, I think, are all in good heart for his kid. You know, I do. When he loses his wife, you know, there's just going to be some things that he does that I think any man would do in that situation. That don't know where that he's going. He don't know what happened. He don't know. He don't understand what's going on in the whole town. Pretty much, it's just unbearable to him, I think, in a lot of ways. And so when things start falling into place and he starts realizing what's going on, yeah, the badass comes out in him. I mean, it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be an emotional roller coaster for, especially at the end of the movie. Mhm.
Amy Lynn,
Yeah.
anything for your twin up there?
Yes. So what did you do, or what your process in getting ready for the character?
I'm still doing it. I'm still getting I'm still reading the script. I'm still, going over other characters. And that's the thing, I like knowing what other characters are doing in the whole script, just so um, how does that how does that affect me in my feelings and in my acting and stuff like that? I need to know how the other characters are going to act. It's just kind of like me and Marilyn when we have our role or our scene together. Here's a sweet little old lady, and all of a sudden, she just turns on me and everybody, and stuff like that. It's just that that scene alone is going to be hard. I mean, it really is. It's going to be hard. I was thinking about it the other day when we went through the table read, and just we laughed about it then, but it's like when we're on set, that's going to be. I mean, yeah. At first, you're going to be thinking, "Oh my God, he's not going to kill her," and then it's like, "Oh my God, he should kill her," and 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 a whole lot of things going on in that one scene. It's going to be crazy. And I don't want to say too much. I think I've already said too much, really, to be honest with you. It's too late. So I know, but I don't know how, see, and that's the whole thing. When you get asked a question like that, you can tell too much without even thinking about it. And it's like, just shut up. But yeah, it's just, but you don't know what's going to happen. And it's
All good.
so, yeah, it's just,
Jason has to do some
Oh.
rewriting now. So no, just
yeah, right. Tear up the whole scene now. But no, I don't. I didn't think I'd give away a whole lot, but I gave away some maybe. I don't. I'm gonna shut up now.
The thing is, by the time y'all shoot it and it gets released, it's going to be what 7, 8 months down the road. So people might not remember what you said, anyways.
Yeah. Well,
Honestly, and if
it's
they
just
do,
hard. It's hard to talk about a movie like this without giving away too much. Really, it is, because there's so much going on in every scene. It really is hard to talk about.
Every scene connects to something within this movie just because of
Yes.
how it's played out, which is a good thing for sure. But yeah, it's hard to talk about, certain
Yeah,
scenes
it
and
really
give it
is.
away.
Sorry.
so
well, that's what's so great about Jason's writing is that it has so many layers and it goes off in so many different directions that you could take a character and really just do something totally different with it as well,
So Jason, what was your inspiration for writing this?
So I was driving to work one day and I had a particular scene in my head. I was trying to come up with ideas for our first original feature. Like this team has already done a feature. It was Voorhees, 60 minutes long, a little over, like 61, technically a feature. So I count it. But I wanted to level up, so they say, and do our first original feature that isn't based on another IP. And I was just trying to come up with ideas and build these ideas around actors that I had worked with and that I think that still had a lot to show. And James and Olivia being the two that I started with. Um, I wanted to build something around them And there's like one particular scene that came to my mind as I was driving to work, and I built the whole thing, the whole story around that one scene. And then I picked a theme and tweaked the story more. Once I settled on the right theme. And the theme for this film, I love themes. If you go back and watch all the short films and everything has a theme that like every major character is dealing with. And the theme for this is sacrifice. So once you watch this thing, every major character is either does or is willing to sacrifice themselves for who or what they love. And I think that is a pretty powerful theme. And so it just develop these characters, create this scenario. And another thing that played into it is my entire life, I've always been fascinated with eyes, especially in the horror genre. And there's something called heterochromia, which is it's pretty rare. A lot of people have it, but to this extreme that we went with this movie, it is rare. A lot of times it's just like a part of an eye or just like a little bit. But heterochromia is when there's one eye that is a different color than the other eye, or a part of an eye is a different color than the rest of it. And in this story, our lead character, Chloe, she has one eye blue and one eye brown. And I wanted to play with that with that genetic marker and like what that might mean. And the phrase that immediately came to mind was the eyes are the windows to the soul. And so I thought, man, it'd be really cool if like that meant that window is open and something could get in easier. And so with the original scene that I came up with, the idea with the eyes, and then the theme, that's how I created The Forest Through the Trees.
Wow, that's cool. I actually haven't heard that answer before. So that's not all of it anyway. That's cool.
By the time I got to work, I had a pretty rough idea of the story, and I immediately texted it to James. It's like 3 paragraphs long, and his response was, "Holy shit! Oh my god!"
That's pretty much what it was. It's like, whoa.
Emily, any questions for James? Or I'm sorry, for Jason?
Hey,
I'm
Coach.
working. I'm trying.
Overall total, like from the moment you had the idea or the conception of The Forest Through the Trees till the script was locked, how difficult of a process was that for you, or
It
was it at
was
all?
it was pretty difficult actually. I had like I said, I had the story pretty much outlined or planned out pretty fast, like within a day from the first kernel of an idea. But just finding the time to get it on paper, and then develop the characters, flesh them out more, takes a while. I uh I wrote the first draft. I I had to really discipline myself because I really wanted to get into the post production or the pre production as quickly as possible. So about this time, or a little bit earlier this time last year, in 2023, I guess around March, I really started putting it on paper and writing it. And I did the first draft, and then I sent it to a few people and got some notes. And I actually, we have our film family we have a friend. His name is Jason Durkee. He was in when the Stairs Creek, and he has a cabin out in the woods. And he let me seclude myself out there for a weekend. And when I wanted to do the second draft, I just needed to completely isolate myself. I went out there for 3 days. I didn't really have any contact, shut my phone off, and I just forced myself to get through the second draft. And when I left that weekend, it was done. The locked script is actually the fourth draft. I did go through it a couple more times with Charlie Brady, who really helped tweak some things. And so I guess to answer your question, it was probably really close to a year of developing the script. And a lot of work.
I bet.
Yeah.
Is there,
James, oh, sorry, go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, James, while we have you on real quick, I know it's a different movie, but I don't know if I'll be able to talk to you now. You're gonna play Deathstroke in a Batman movie coming up. That's pretty freaking cool. You talk about that real quick?
Yeah, Will Reed, he's brilliant mind as well, great editor as well. But he asked me to play Deathstroke in the very ending of the one that Jason was in. Batman, what was it called? I'm sorry, what was it
Heart of
called?
Ice.
Yeah,
Heart
yeah,
of Ice.
yeah, Heart of Ice. And he asked me, and while we was in Arkansas, actually, we were still shooting. We shot the tail end of that in a really nice hotel. What was that hotel? Golly, I cannot think of the
The
name.
Arlington.
Arlington, and we was up there, and those rooms are amazing. And so we shot the ending, and we put all the stuff on and all that stuff, and it just looked so badass. I mean, it just looked really good, and yeah. And so I guess in his next movie, the next Batman movie that he's writing, I'm going to be playing Deathstroke, and going to have a pretty good role in that movie coming up. So I can't wait. So that's what I stay in the gym for, to play the parts like that.
It's awesome. I just wanted to ask you about that while you were here because I'm like a
Yeah.
Batman freaking fanatic, and I've seen
Yeah.
Will's movies are all. He said he's going to make me one of the cops or something, so I get to be in it too. So I'm really excited.
That a boy.
Just to see somebody in a Batman costume. I'm like little 7-year-old for a second. Go, oh crap, that's Batman. So I wanted to ask you real quick while you were still here.
And
Yeah, I
Aaron,
appreciate
Amy
it.
Lynn, I'm gonna have to sign off. I've got a show that I've got to get to. Thank you so much for having me on here. I should have probably slipped out a little bit sooner, but I wanted to stay in here. So, but thank you so much for having me.
Thank
Well,
you for coming. Absolutely.
Yeah, and
definitely.
I look forward to
Hey.
working with everybody very, very soon. Bye, you guys.
Bye, Kelly.
Thank you.
Kelly.
So,
Okay,
Mr.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty cool role. I'm looking forward to it.
Scott, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
Hey, I'm Scott Doss, and I'm down here in Little Rock. This is going to be my first movie, so I'm
Oh,
very
wow,
excited
really?
about that. Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
awesome.
I've been acting for a little over 50 years. My first play was in 1972 and been acting ever since, but never ever auditioned for a film until this.
Wow.
Well, welcome.
Hey, I'm
That
glad to be
audition was
here.
good too. I just had to butt in there and say that was a good audition.
Oh, well, thanks. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I love playing villains.
I remember texting Jason and being like, hey, we got a good one.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
batting
every
1,000,
time I get to
one for
play a
one,
villain,
so-
I try to put everything in it.
You did
Well,
good. I'm excited.
You still sound like the villain right now. Your voice doesn't like you would think you would change your voice. Yeah, see, that's
Oh,
just-
you're gonna have to watch out when I get there.
You're
Yeah.
just creepy, dude. You're just creepy.
It's going to be really funny when you actually see me in person standing next to you because I'm only 5'7", 140 pounds. But
Yeah.
you will tower
Wow.
over me.
Well, guys, I do got to go too. I've got to get to work. So, Scott, Marilyn, Amy Lynn, Julia, Jason, Aaron, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
I will, just have me back on, man, anytime you want. I would love to be back on with y'all, and we'll talk some more.
Sounds great, man.
I got-
I'd love to.
I
Thank
got a lot of good things coming up. I got 2 TV series. I got another major motion picture that I'm working on that I can't say anything about right now. And I want to so freaking bad. Jason, I've been wanting to tell you for a long time. I just can't do it. I can't. I signed the NDA. Signed the NDA.
Dang it.
So anyway, but yeah, I'll talk to y'all soon. Okay.
Sounds great, man. Thank
See
you
you
for
later,
coming.
James.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Take it easy, man.
Have fun.
See y'all in just a couple of weeks. Yep.
Yes.
Actually, a couple of days. That's
Less than 2. It's less than 2 weeks. Yeah.
less than 2 weeks now. Yep.
Yep.
All right,
It's 12
guys.
days.
See you
12
later.
days.
Yeah.
Well, Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye. And then there were 6.
Yeah, Scott, I'm sorry. I did not mean to keep you on hold. I just wanted to like get the two that had to leave really quick.
Oh no, that's fine.
But yeah, so I've read the script, and Julian's pretty awesome, but awful, what. And then
Yeah, I love him.
I saw you doing an interview with everybody else before, and I was like, oh, he looks like he can nail this role. So, but you're batting 1,000. If you had one audition and got the part, that's perfect.
I told Jason when I first read the script, he reminds me of a James Bond villain because he's evil through and through and has no apologies for it. Evil from beginning to end, and yet you love him. And you want him to be evil. You wouldn't have him any other way. So that's why he's there, and that's why I like playing him.
So you said you've been doing plays for a long time. Do you do a lot of villain roles?
Oddly, no. When I do get to play a villain, I absolutely love it. But for the most part, I'm always cast in comedies. And if I do get to play the villain, it's a comedic villain. So nothing ever as serious like this, and never anything horror or scary. So
Wow.
It's fun.
I have a question for you, Scott.
All right.
Is that okay if I ask a question?
Absolutely, go for it.
So I'm curious. Like 50 years of acting and never in a film before. Had you thought about auditioning before in the past?
When I was in college, that was my goal. I was either gonna go to LA or go to New York, but right out of college, I was offered a job, and I took it, and I stayed there, and I continued to do theater on the side, dinner theater, little theater, whatever was going on in whatever city I happened to be living, because I got transferred around quite a bit. But because of the job and the stability and the pay, I thought, I can't give this up and just go seek a dream, which, looking back on it, it would have been fun to do. Would have been exciting, but at that time I just couldn't do it. So I continued to act, and sometimes it was paying gigs. If it was dinner theater, we were getting paid. But no, I never really seriously started putting auditions out there for things outside of the city where I was living until I retired. And I retired and moved to Little Rock, and just happened to run into that other actor, like I told you, at a play audition. I was closing a play, getting ready to audition for the next play, ran into an actor who was a film actor, and that's pretty much all he had on his resume. So he said, man, you really ought to try out for this film. They're auditioning for a horror movie, and I think you look the part. So I did.
Yeah.
I'm glad you did.
Oh yeah, me too.
I'm thankful for that other actor who gave you the tip.
I am too.
Amy Lynn, you got anything to ask him? Anything else to ask him?
Thinking. He answered pretty much all the questions I was going to ask him. He just answered.
So, yeah, same here. That was a great answer, and it just kind of nailed everything that I was thinking.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to officially working with him in person.
I'm looking forward to working with you and everybody. I can hardly wait to meet people in person because I've never met anyone. It's all been on Zoom or Facebook.
Well, you want to hear something crazy? Aaron and I have been friends for over 3 years. Talk almost all the time. We talk a lot, and we've never met in person.
Oh wow!
And we live like an hour and a half apart, if that. I mean, it's like we're in the same part of the state. We're in like literally, she's in what Van Buren,
Yeah.
And I'm in Danville, so we're like an hour and 20 minutes apart. And in 3 years we've talked like this, or we've talked on Messenger, but we've never we never
It's
met.
amazing you haven't run into each other at a convention or something.
We've been working some of the same project and just never at the same time.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when I come, I'm getting Jason's thank you. I'm so freaking excited to be a cult member in one of the scenes.
Absolutely.
So I'll finally get to meet her after like 3 years in a couple of weeks on set. That'll be the first time we meet. So I've met Miss Marilyn more than I mean, I've met you like 2 or 3 different times.
Yep, absolutely.
So Miss Marilyn, I've never like we've talked, we've met, but never on a recording like this. So you got to talk about Alone Footsteps. That was the first thing I saw you in, and never have I went from liking a lady, like liking your character, to absolutely despising your character as quickly as I did. Because it wasn't just what you did the cat or what her the character did to cat. That was one thing, but at the end with the little girl, I'm like, 'cause I have a little 6-year-old girl, so I'm like, that's stupid. No, like, like not the little girl. And so I guess 10 years ago, before I became a parent, I'd be like, oh, that's kind of a cool little horror scene. And then once I became a parent, I'm like, oh, that no, I can't like her. That character. But you're
I'm
so
glad.
sweet. I've gotten to meet you. You're so freaking sweet. And so to see you play her was just, shows how good an actress you are.
Oh, thank you. Well, I am sweet to begin with, but I'm so glad you ended up despising Patty, because I love Patty personally, but yeah, I'm really glad you hated her.
I mean, I liked her too for the first 31
Yeah.
minutes of the movie until the credits ended. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, okay. But what you did to Cat was, what the character did to Cat was one thing. I'm like, at least she's an adult. So I don't, I typically side with the villain. One of those weird people. Like, I think the villains are usually way more interesting. And then the heroes in a horror movie. So that's why I can't wait to see what Scott does with Julie, because I already think the characters are more interesting anyway. But I will say James is going to be a pretty good hero to go against. So
Yeah.
but but by the end, I'm like, man, I don't want to dislike her. I even texted Jason after watching, like, I don't want to dislike Patty, but now I do, because she's kidnapped a little girl, and her picture ended up on a wanted or on a missing poster, so she's probably dead. And then, but anyway, you were great, and you were great in Alone. So I just want to tell you that.
Thank you so much.
But tell us a little bit about just kind of how you met Jason, and how you came to do all of the movies of his you've done so far.
Well, it was 2020, and I was on Facebook, and I'd been looking at, I think it was Real Arkansas. I'm not sure, Jason, but Jason had posted some questions about cemeteries, and he was looking for a cemetery. He had this film called The Cemetery, and he was looking for certain aspects of the locations. And I thought, well, I love cemeteries and I can't really do anything else anyway. So I might as well go look at some cemeteries that I have around where I live. I live out in the country and stuff. And so I took a bunch of pictures. I was trying to keep in mind what he was looking for. And I sent it to him, and we started having a conversation a little bit about all that. And then out of the blue one day, he asked me if I do you act? He asked me, and I said, yes, I do. And and got real excited, and then that's when he wanted me to audition for Patty. And so that's how that all came about. And then I've worked with him on and off on a couple of things, and always enjoyed my time with him and the people that he puts together to create the films he does.
Couldn't have played a more opposite character of Patty, which did it with serious. You're like a caring mother, mom who's trying to help her daughter get through
Yeah.
a tragedy. Can you talk a little bit about that movie real quick?
Yeah. That was a film where I was so worried about my daughter, that my character, the mom, that I had to bring out some emotion for that. And it was pretty easy with Bailey, because Bailey, who played my daughter, she could certainly cry at a drop of a hat. And plus just the how tortured she felt and everything. And so that was a cool experience to portray her mom, and in a great location too. That was wonderful. Bearden Lady, yeah. And just the whole setting and working with Bailey and everyone was really good, and I cried. So
No, that was. I'm not usually a fan of dramas, but drama's probably my at the bottom of my favorites, just because I don't like to cry. I don't like that, so I don't watch them because I don't want to. But I had to watch them upstairs because Jason did it, because I do like the song that it's based off of.
yeah.
And Bailey was amazing in that movie. She was from. I've seen her in a bunch of stuff. She's great in everything, but she was great in Masquerade. But for some reason, her performance in that one made me tear up. She was so good in that movie.
Yeah.
Amy Lynn, you got anything?
Just like Miss Marilyn and I actually met when she kidnapped my daughter. That was the first time I met Marilyn. But yeah, every project I've worked with her on, I just stand there, I'm supposed to be doing my job, but I'm in such awe of her acting skills. It's like I forget that I'm supposed to be doing something else. I do. I just get so wrapped up in her performance that it's just amazing. And a wonderful person.
Because here in town, that little gas station is still here. It's still like sitting there on the corner that they'll use for the gas station. But for whatever reason, they've closed it down and they've rearranged the side of it so it looks so different. So like almost kind of sad to look at. It's not the same thing it used to be. Like they moved the register from like right here to like on the sidewall, and they rearranged everything inside of it so it don't look nothing like it did in the movie. But every time I drive by it, I think that's the gas station. That was actually the day I was supposed to be like a PA or something that day. COVID was here. My family was freaking out over COVID, so I didn't do it. But it's weird walking by that or seeing that gas station. I'm like, oh, that's where I almost filmed. So Julia.
Yeah.
You and I we did like a Zoom call thing a few months
About a year ago.
Yeah, that's been a little while. Yeah, I guess it has been about a year ago. But how did you get involved with Jason?
With Jason, so it was probably around 2020, like Marilyn met him. It was at his red carpet event for Alone. I knew Marilyn prior, so that's kind of one of the reasons I went. I went to see Marilyn in action, and I believe Jason and I might have been Facebook friends or something beforehand, because I remember always seeing his stuff, but I wasn't familiar with him until his red carpet event. And Trenton and I went and saw that, and it was really good. And I kind of just started following him a little more. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm the first one to tell you I don't really watch horror movies because I'm a baby and I get scared of little things like that. So this is definitely a different step for me. I've worked on, I feel like, a lot of horror stuff recently with casting or getting people involved with it. But I mean, I even did a documentary recently, like acting wise, and I still haven't watched all of it because I'm too scared to watch, ghost stories and stuff like that. But I met Jason though back in, I believe, 2020. I think that's when his red carpet premiere was, or 21. No, no, it was around that time. So it might have been 2020, 21. Okay, yes, it was 21.
I think it was 2021.
Okay, I don't know. It all
late
together at that
2020 maybe.
Okay, yeah, somewhere around then. I just know it was at his red carpet event. And then I really started kind of getting involved with Jason. He signed with my agency last year, and he was telling me about how he was writing this new script, which I was kind of watching on his page, and I'm like, hey, when it comes time to casting, a casting director. So, and then it just kind of took off from there.
What made you decide to open up your own casting agency?
Okay, so I've been involved with film, acting, all that for about 10 years now, and I was supposed to be in agriculture. I was supposed to be a veterinarian. Everyone said I was going to be, so I was too. But with this entertainment industry and acting, they all said, "Oh, you're going to go far with it." So it's a hobby. Well, then it kind of took a turn when I moved to Berryville 2 years ago, and randomly I was like, "I'm going to the community center and I'm going to start acting classes for kids." The director there thought maybe 2 or 3 kids would sign up. I was thinking 5. we had 15 kids the very first day sign up. And when we had our first show, we had 200 audience members in the small town of Berryville, Arkansas. And because I originally lived in Rogers most of my life. But it was a big turnout, and these kids, I was getting them booked for different movies. Friends that I used to, work with and stuff in the film industry, I was finding them gigs, and like, you need to start your own agency at this point. Because I mean, I was able to find them stuff, and I was pretty much acting as a manager slash agent. So I kind of went into the talent manager role, and then it just kind of started growing from there. And now my agency is it's a talent agency, but I work as a manager slash agent, I feel like. And then I was casting a lot of stuff. I had a lot of directors coming to me needing, extras mainly. So I was doing a lot of extras casting. And then it just kind of grew from there. And now I'm, casting multiple projects at the same time. And we represent talent and cast projects in Arkansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Tennessee. And I mean, my clients are booking weekly, which is great.
Yeah, like I follow you. I got your follow you on Facebook. You're busy. You're
Yeah.
always posting stuff. You're always posting. This person got this part. This person got that part. Or we're looking for somebody for this. I'm like, that poor girl never takes a break. She's always going.
She is an amazing agent. Like, since I've been with her, I have gotten almost 100% of all of the roles that I've auditioned for. And I went for about a year and a half, almost 2 years with nothing. I couldn't even get an audition until I signed on with her.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I love working with all of my clients. And the thing is, we are probably getting about 5 to 10 submissions a week with people wanting to sign on with our agency, which is crazy to me. And I kind of got to the point where I'm being very selective and things like that, just because we want to stay smaller. Like I said, I want to work kind of as a manager and an agent, because I want to promote my clients a lot. So I think we have around 60 clients at the moment in those 4 states. And I want to be able to help, find them podcasts to get interviewed on, find little things where we can promote them. So, which is kind of more of a manager position, but I don't want to get so caught up and have like 200, 300 clients where I can't be personal with them and, just talk to them. I have a client that texts me every single day, nonstop. I love him. He's great. But we kind of got that friendship, client relationship. And it's so funny because he's like, okay, agent and client talk, or he's like, okay, this is friend talk, and I've gotten that relationship with a lot of my clients at this point, which I love.
What made you decide to audition for Forest of the Tree? Did you actually audition for the part yourself?
I did send in the self-tape for it. So that was actually the last 2 roles, was young Ruth and young Kathy. And so we were like, okay, we need these younger roles. Of course, we couldn't do that until we had the older versions. And so we had that. And of course, I like acting. That's my set. I call those my days off, are the days when I'm acting or as an extra or whatever that might be. And I was really excited to see that, he was casting for young Ruth, and I was kind of wanting to audition. And then he came to me, he's like, hey, I think you might have a good look for it. You might be able to play Kelly's younger version as her role. And so he's like, can you send in a self-tape? And so I sent him my self-tape, and it was fun. I'm excited about it. I'm excited because I have the first line of the movie. I'm going to be honest. I tell everyone that. I'm like, you have the first line of the movie. Because I'll call up my grandparents. I'm like, guess what? But I'm excited. I'm kind of like a little cameo, just because I don't get in front of the camera as much as I thought I would when I was acting. Because everyone's like, oh, you're going to be more acting. I'm like, okay, but I'm more behind the scenes, which I absolutely love. Whether it's casting, just helping on set, telling people to be quiet, and reset, or things like that. So,
Jason, what is it you look for when you're doing like a casting call? What is it you look for? Is it talent? Is it looks? What is it you're looking for the most?
Passion.
Yeah.
I think, are they prepared? I think like talent, whatever that is, I think comes like 4th or 5th on the list.
Absolutely.
I really look for people that are positive, people that are passionate about their profession, what they want to do, people who are willing to go the extra mile in a positive manner. And a lot of that, does come out in auditions. Like, are they prepared? Do they know their lines? Did they Did they take the time to make the video look good? Did they take the time to learn the lines? I mean, all of that is you can make judgment calls from audition tapes for that kind of stuff. And then the you know, the talent comes from like the performance, the final performances. You're not looking for that in an audition tape. You're looking for the things that I or at least I do, that I just mentioned. And then you get to the final performance through a process, from when they're cast. You meet with them, you talk to them, you have the table reads, you go over things, you go, okay, like here, I really need the character to feel this at this point, and then on set, you tweak things, and it's a collaborative thing. But yeah, like passion, positivity, those are the two biggest things.
You actually just answered my next question. So I was going to say, do you and the actor, like, you write something out, the way you want it or the way you envision it, but then the actor comes along and you say, hey, they're perfect for the part, but they might something might
I
be
didn't hear it.
different than what I wanted. If you bring in an actor that you write it the way you want to write, but then you bring in an actor and think, okay, this actor is right for the part, but they might change something here or there. Are you one of those directors that's like a stickler, like this how it has to be, or you're willing to work with it? I already answered that, but
So, I'm very, very open to collaborating. I am not one of the directors that is just like, you have to, hit every line, you have to hit every word, you have to do it this way, the way I want it. I just want to feel something in the performance. Um, Ideally, it's I want to feel the emotion that was originally intended when I wrote it, or when the writer wrote it. But a lot of that is up to uh, you know, s- um, like speculation. Like they say art is in the eye of the beholder. So like you can play the same role multiple different ways with different emotions behind it, and sometimes something else that was originally intended ends up being better for the story and for the character. So I'm really open to collaboration and different ideas. But at the end of the day, I want to feel something. I don't want it to be robotic. I don't want it to feel scripted. I don't want it to, and that's the main thing that I'm looking for. And a big part of that in film is to slow things down. Like I think that a lot of independent films, uh, the actors are just like boom, line, 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 and I think a great way to enhance the performances is just to slow things down and force the actor to think about and one thing that they say is like, don't respond until you have to, until you need to, right? That way it feels more real and more organic, if that makes sense. And all of that is, we get into it on set.
Amy Lynn, anything you want to say or ask? Or
Oh, he answered all the questions already. I mean, I've worked with him for, gosh, whenever the closing scene for Alone was when him and I first started working together. And I just got to say, like, I've been in a lot of films and worked with a lot of directors, and he is my absolute favorite. I'm not sucking up, Coach, but I really no, all jokes aside, Jason Pitts is by far the most talented, the most patient, the best director that I have ever worked with. And I've done a lot of films. And he, to this day, is my favorite and will always be my favorite.
Oh, thank you.
well,
I have a
it
really
may
good
sound
example. I have a really good
Okay.
example of what I'm talking about.
okay.
So the opening scene in When the Stairs Creak, when Jason Durkee comes down the stairs and sits at the table with Bailey. Do you remember that?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So when we shot that, he comes down the stairs, he sits down and says his line. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Like we gotta milk this. And he comes, like, if you watch it, he comes down the stairs, they sit there and he looks at her like for a long time. And I just like, just sit there and don't say your line until you feel your character has to say it. And I think it's a lot more effective, like, than him just coming down, sitting down, and then saying the line, if that makes sense. So yeah, like that's just a really good example of what I'm talking about. Like it could have been, he just comes down, sits down, and then says, "Hey," or whatever. But so like by doing that and slowing it down, we built tension. Like you immediately know that there's something going on between these two people, just because of how long it takes him to say something to her. He looks at her, he looks down, he looks at her, and then he finally says his line. But that's just that's a really good example of what I'm talking about.
That movie, when I watched it, like I think I even, because you let me watch it to do like a non-spoiler review of the old
Yeah.
podcast I was doing. And I think I texted you afterward and said that movie took a complete left turn from what I was expecting. Because that first scene, I'm thinking it's he cheated on her,
Yeah.
or he abused her, or something like that. And I have to admit, my eyes kind of rolled when I don't want to see that part. I'm going to watch the movie because you sent it to me, and I'm going to review it. But my first thought was, if it's that, come on. And then all of a sudden, I realized something that's not what's going on. There's something really weird about her. But she's not even looking at him through most of the movie. She just looks away or looks down, doesn't hardly say a word to him, and I'm like, something feels really different and really off. And then all of a sudden, it became probably my favorite movie you did, because there was just so much like tension through the whole movie. At least to me, it felt like this deep tension, and you still didn't know until about halfway through what the heck happened to cause this, until Olivia's character comes in and you find out, oh, he's a ghost.
I think a lot of people start to suspect something's up in the scene with Bailey and Marilyn. I think that's where I would say about 15 to 20% of the viewers start to like be like, okay, there's something weird going on here. But with Olivia's scene, it's like, oh, well, it's actually like before Olivia's scene, when she looks at the newspaper and he disappears, is right before Olivia's scene, and that's the scene that just gives it away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing I do, another thing is the music in your movies, like all your movies, but especially the songs that you listen. What she did at Race.
Oh, Amy Bishop.
Yeah, and then she did the cover of Little Talks for this one. She was so good. But even the music in your actual during the movie itself, like the underscoring soundtrack, was great in all your movies. What do you like? Do you have specific people for every movie, or do you get a different person for every movie?
Yeah, for Alone and Masquerade, it was a composer out of Conway. He lived in Conway at the time. I'm not sure he's still there, but his name was Dustin Yoder. A very, very, very talented guy. He has performed in Carnegie Hall. He's making his own movies now with his own scores. So if you have a chance to check those out, they're really, really good. Um, for When the Stairs Creak, that's when I started working with Dwayne Adcock, who is another very, very talented composer. He's out of Hot Springs. At the time I met him and started working with him, he was in school, online school at a film school in New York, and he actually did submitted his work for When the Stairs Creak for like one of his final things, and aced it. So, but yeah, both of those guys, they're amazing. Now Amy Bishop, I met her on the set of a film that Kelly was talking about earlier, that we worked on together. Amy was one of the leads in that, and that's where I met her. She's an actress as well, but she's really late the last few years she's really been focusing on her music, and she has a band called Wonder Puss. Phenomenal. Marilyn and I went and saw a show couple like a month ago, and it was really good. But yeah, like she wrote Eraser. Uh, I asked her if I could use one of her songs for Alone, for like the theme song for Alone, and she sent me like half a dozen of them, 5 or 6, and I listened to all of them. And when I listened to Eraser, I was like, this is perfect. Everything like in this, the lyrics go along with everything that's happening in the movie, and it's great. So we use that one. And then for Masquerade, she actually wrote the song Masquerade that we used, and that's the name of the song as well as Masquerade. She wrote it from some of the lyric or from some of the dialogue in the film, and she let herself be inspired by the dialogue in the film and wrote Masquerade, and then recorded it, and we used it. And then I asked her if she could do a cover of Little Talks that we could use for When the Stairs Creak, and she's like, yeah, I love that song. And she found a male vocalist to do the duet with, and I think it's great. It's, in my opinion, it's up there with one of the best covers of all time, up there with God, what's Hello Darkness, My Old Friend, that song.
Sound of Silence. Yeah.
Sound of Silence, yeah, yeah. But it didn't, her cover didn't catch on YouTube and Spotify like I thought it would, but man, it's amazing. It's a great cover.
That's crazy that she didn't write Eraser for like that was songs
Mhm.
she already wrote, because it was so, like you said, so if you listen
Spot
to the
on.
lyrics, it's perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds like she wrote it after reading the script or something.
Oh, it was one of her songs that she already had.
So I don't want to keep everybody forever. I know you all are probably busy or whatnot. But before we sign off, if you guys want to go through and just kind of give one last thought on the movie and what you're looking forward to the most, Scott.
I'm just looking forward to get started. It's I can hardly wait. Everything about it just sounds exciting, and even when I'm not in a scene, I want to be there watching and learning and seeing how it's all done.
Yeah, I'm excited to learn from Jason. Like, I'm gonna probably follow you for a little while when I'm there, just to kind of watch you, because I don't care if it sounds like I'm sucking up. I don't care if it sounds like I'm sucking up. I am, because you're 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 like I've seen a bunch of directors' movies, and you're the first one I watched where I watched more than five, like disliking Diablo or Diablo boring. Like I said, I was starting off with When the Stairs Creak, like, oh god, but then halfway through it, I'm like, okay, this is kind of interesting. By the end, it turned into my favorite movie. Even more than Voorhees, and I love Jason Voorhees, but that's like Voorhees is fun, and After the Beast is fun, but that movie wasn't necessarily fun. It was just so freaking good. So yeah, I'm gonna probably follow you a little bit that night just to kind of learn from you.
Yeah.
Marilyn.
Oh, I'm very excited. These last few days before we start shooting, they're going to go fast. I've already put together everything that I'm going to bring on set, and I'm going over my lines. I'm thinking about everything. I'm just so excited, and I can't wait to be on set with Jason and cast and crew. I can't wait to meet Scott and everyone. I have never met James either. We get to do a fight scene, and that'll be awesome.
Julia.
I am very, very excited, especially coming on as a producer role after doing the casting, which I just want to note, we had over 500 submissions from across the country. That was a very intense casting, and that was a lot of fun though. But I did want to throw out, like, that was a really good casting. It was just, there was a lot of good actors, and so it was fun there. But now coming on as a producer, I'm really excited, especially to be learning from Robert Babcock there. He's someone I've always looked up to in the film industry, so I'm very excited to be working with him. There is going to be a cooler. It's going to say JB Talent Connections. Do not open it. It will have Monsters, Dr. Pepper. Those will be mine to keep me awake. Just saying. I've already decided that's going to be my energy there. But no, I'm really excited just to be working with everyone on set. Coming in on as a producer, though, I'm ready for these 12+ hours on set. Let's do it.
So Jason, what do you like? How do you prepare for like an overnight shoot? You said a lot of this. You told me a lot of the shoots going to be overnight. How do you prepare, like mentally and physically, for being up for 12 hours and working all that?
You don't. You just do it. There's no preparation for it. Yeah, I mean it's gonna be a challenge, it's gonna be hard. But man, that's why it's so critical to build a team, cast and crew that are passionate and positive. Because there's gonna be times when we're tired and we're gonna have to hold each other up and keep each other going.
You tell the story on Voorhees where like, you went like 3 or 4 days straight without sleeping. That's just like I don't necessarily need much sleep, but I couldn't go that long without at least a few hours.
Yeah, it was hard. I mean, no coating it. I went, I think, at least 3 days without sleeping on
You
Voorhees.
did. You
Yeah.
really did. Like you were so busy taking care of like when we weren't filming or whatever, just like in between going from one, you were just so busy the whole time taking care of everybody else, making sure they got sleep, they got rest, and on top of the other stuff that you had to do on set, you kind of forgot to take care of yourself.
Yeah,
And of
but
course, you and I had that discussion.
yeah,
You got lectured quite a bit about you needed to take care of yourself, but it being it was your film, it's your responsibility. All the weight is on your shoulders, no matter how tough it is for everybody else.
and I learned from that. And that's why this time around I have Robert and Julia to help me run the set, and that way I can focus on directing and and sleeping.
Yeah.
Amy Lynn, we'll make sure to put some melatonin like in his drink, right before, like once the set ends, of course. we'll pop some melatonin in there, be like, you're gonna sleep.
Yeah, he's so intense about his projects that he literally does forget to take care of himself on set because he's so worried about and he's so wonderful, just making sure all of the cast and crew are taken care of first.
And that's gotta feel good for the cast and crew. I mean, I know don't get me wrong, everybody's worried about Jason, but the fact he cares so much has to be like a big deal to the cast and crew, because I'm sure there are a lot of directors I feel like I haven't met any directors. I've met like 2 my entire life. Jason and my friend Matt, that's it. But I mean, I'm sure there are directors, and they both, I'm sure, care. I know Jason does. But I'm sure there are directors out there that don't care. So it has to be good to know that there's directors that care.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to thank everybody for coming on. This was the first episode. We're gonna try England, but it's like a long build.
Yeah, we'll get there.
We will. So I want to thank everybody: Scott Doss, Marilyn Knapp,
Thank you.
Julia. And I'm sorry, Julia. My last name's hard to pronounce. I'm not going to try to pronounce it.
Borkowski, I get it.
There you go. Mine's Wajahowski, so it's not any easier.
Well, I'm glad you pronounced yours because I would have butchered it too.
And of course, the writer director Jason Pitts. So thank you all for coming on. And, we'll catch you guys on the set in a couple of weeks. I'm pretty excited just to be there for one night. See you like that.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
thank everyone for being here.
All right.
See everyone soon.
All right. Thanks, guys. That was really awesome. You guys were all great. And I'll try to have this up like in the next hour and a half. I should have it. I got to download it and then upload it to YouTube. And then I'll share it on Facebook.
Cool. Sounds good.
Great.
Thanks a
Awesome.
lot.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Aaron.
guys.
Thank you, everyone.
See y'all later.
See ya.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
See you
Bye.
soon.